I built this portable tennis scoreboard, which is controlled by an iPhone app, but it can also be controlled by an Apple Watch. The display is run by a Raspberry Pi, which runs an Express server, but the main part is this Apple Watch iPhone combo. I called it Pollenboard because this is where I play. And here's how it works. So you set up a match, you enter the name of the 4 players, then you can choose who serves first and you can select the type of juice. You set the server URL for the Raspberry Pi, and then you've got this scoreboard. You can add points to any team. You can also undo and redo if you've made a mistake. It supports 3 types of juices: normal juice, silver juice, and golden juice. It supports tie breaks as well. And if you want to restart a match, you can just reset the score and keep everything as it was. And if you have a completely new game, you can just go back to the setup and enter new names. The main benefit though is to not use the iPhone, but actually an Apple Watch, because that's much easier. It supports the same commands to give points, but also undo and redo. The display is a Raspberry Pi monitor, and it runs an Express server to get updates from the iPhone. The whole setup is portable and runs on a Raspberry Pi and a power bank. So let's dive into the code. Okay, so this is the Xcode project. So there's the Pollenboard iPhone app here, and there is the Watch app here. The iPhone app is pretty straightforward. I'll show the content in the simulator. So this view is just the entry point, just has a button. Here you enter this setup match view, which has some match settings. And here you just define the match settings structure. As you can see, it just has 4 names. You can play doubles. It will say also who serves first. That's stored, but it's displayed, but it's not actually stored or used yet. I might change that later. Then there's the juice type. So normal juice is as usual. Silver juice basically is the same as normal, but as soon as you reach a second juice, the next point wins. And golden juice, if you reach 40 all, next point wins. So there's no advantage. And then there's the server URL. So that will tell where to send the score to update the website. So there is this node server running, and it only displays the score. I'll show quickly what it looks like. So it's an Express server. It has the same data structure for the scoreboard. Has 2 entry points, so the root just serves the HTML. And then there's this API endpoint where basically the iPhone app sends this scoreboard, which is just a JSON, and then it will emit that scoreboard to the page, and then the page just updates the layout. So it's using Socket.io, which works really easily. So as you can see, the HTML is just a list of placeholders for each value. There's some styling, so all the colors and everything, just, using Flexbox, and it's fairly responsive. So it's trying to use the same to keep the ratio. So depending on the size of the screen, it's still pretty readable. And then there is the JS. So it uses Circuit.io as well. And then whenever there is an update, it just updates the content in each placeholder. So you could probably optimize this, but yeah, it just gets the element on the page and then replaces the value with replaces the content with the new value, and there might be some styling as well. So in my case here, because I'm running everything locally, I need to go to this. So everything, so the iPhone app, the watch app, and the Node server are all running on the same network. So that's how they communicate. So this is how it's set up. And then you enter this match view. And basically it has all the same data. It has a snapshot structure, and that allows us to do the undo redo. And then it's all the logic about, updating the scoreboard. So actually the scoreboard itself is its own component. But then there's all the functions to undo redo, create the snapshots, add points, check the game state, handle the different juices, check if there's a set win, so it goes to the next set, and then reset as well. And then this is actually, here where we send the update to the server and also to the watch, actually. So let's see it in action. So if I put it side to side like this, you can see if I say, oh, it's their point, this is sent. So it's displayed here as well as convenience, but usually you would see this like you see. So I can undo, redo. It's instant, even, if you're using the Raspberry Pi and your actual iPhone, it works really great. That's Circuit.io library. So you can see, I think I put normal juice, so you can have advantage, etc. And as soon as you have one game, it updates that. So you can see, let's see if, I get to the last set. Actually, let me do a tiebreak because it handles tiebreak as well. So if you reach 6 each, then it's not 15, 30, 40 anymore. It's points. You can see. So you need to reach 7. So but if you reach 7, you need 2 points difference. So here, let's say up. So then this set is done. Goes to the next one, and as you can see, this is the second set. You can always redo, undo and redo. And so one thing is that there is, so the match scoreboard view is just that table, some color based on the score. So that's what you see here. You can always reset the match, so it keeps everything. So it keeps the name and juice type and everything, except it just resets the scores. Okay, so the iPhone with the server works great, but obviously if you actually playing tennis. You don't want to take out your phone between each point. So there is the watch app, and it has the same 4 functions. So our point, their point, undo, redo. It also shows the score, so that if you can't see the board, you can still check that you've entered the point correctly. And it has the number of games as well. So if I do this, you can see what it does. Actually, I put it in this order. Basically, this sends the message to the iPhone app, which itself sends the update to the server. And also the iPhone app sends back the score to the watch, but all the logic happens on the iPhone. So if you were, to think about it as the MVC pattern, so the model view controller, you can consider that the iPhone is the model because it has all the data, all the logic. This is kind of the controller because that's what triggers, the methods from the app. And then this is the scoreboard is just a view, has no logic. It just has some styling, but otherwise it doesn't calculate anything. Like I could send any string, so I could send but 67, it would just display it. Has no logic or calculation. It's just a view, basically. So as you can see, it can be a bit slower. I think the connection between the two is not as quick, but in reality, when you use it, it's actually fairly quick as well. As you can see, I can do can still use the iPhone to do the update, and then it updates everything. But as you can see, the core of the app is still the iPhone. So if somehow, you had a spectator who was watching the game and wanted to keep track of the score, they could just use the iPhone. It'd be totally great. It'd be a bit boring for them, but it's a self-standing app. The watch is just, a controller, but it's way more convenient when you're actually playing. So that's why I built that as well. So let's go through the code quickly. So this one has, let me put it side by side. It just has one view. As you can see, it just has the score at the top. Basically has 2 columns of the same thing. So this is the left column, this is the right column. And as you can see, the match score is much simpler, just as the team A points. So that's the 30 here in the team A games. Same for team B. That's all it needs. Doesn't keep track of anything else. So there's the point badge, which just has some styling here. But the main thing is that how do both communicate? So as you can see, there's a phone session manager and a watch session manager. So that's how they communicate. So the phone, basically, it can receive messages from the watch, and it also sends message to the watch. Actually, it just sends the score to the watch. So what it receives is 4 different things. it can add points to team A. So it will receive this message here, add points to team B, undo and redo. And then as soon as it receives the message, the iPhone app knows what to do. And that is done in the match view. So if you search for add point A, exactly here. So in the match view, which is this view here, it listens for this from the notification center. And when it does, it calls this method, which is its own method. And add point for team A, same here. But this is the name that comes from the phone session manager. And on the side of the watch session manager, it is here basically. Send point for team A, which is a function name on the watch app, but this is the name on the iPhone side. And this is called here, so watch session manager, send point for team A. So the order is that if you tap here, which is this button, you will go here, call this method, send the message to the iPhone app, and then the iPhone app gets it here. So it's the same string as you can see, case add point team A, and then it notifies the match view that you should do this. And so the other direction is that you have to send a score to the watch. And here, what it does, it sends the scoreboard object to the watch, and in the watch session manager it will receive it here. So from the message it gets 4 things, and then it will update its own score. So the match score component, which is here, not component but the structure, will have this. So the latest score is one that will appear on the content view. So it has this session latest score, and then it will appear 4 times. So the score of team A games, which is here, score of team A points here, and then same in the other column, team B points, and then the team B games, which is here. So that's the other direction of the pairing between the two. So yeah, basically that's how this whole setup works. So I can install this on my Apple Watch, I can install this on my iPhone, and then this server is on the Raspberry Pi, and then all 3 of them have to be on the same network. And because it's a portable setup, I'm using this iPhone as a personal hotspot so that the Raspberry Pi connects to this hotspot, so the iPhone and this are on the same network, and then these 2 are just paired. So the watch is paired with this iPhone. So don't really need to be on the same network, but they're just connected. And so that what makes the whole setup portable. And the only thing is there's still a few bugs, but yeah, it just works. I might open source this, but yeah, it's just a fun project.